Hi, hope you're having an awesome day. So this channel is made for those who desire to grow in their understanding of hermeneutics and really develop it and share, discuss, what tools you have, what tools I have, and put into practice, put them to test, that sort of thing. And so this is a channel where you're more than welcome to critique, what you see here, some of the problems that you see, something that I'm doing wrong, maybe I got a speck in my eye, maybe, hopefully, if you got a speck in your eye, hopefully, it gets removed. That's the beauty of this. I love it when I realize later, the aftermath of speck in my eye being removed. I just, and oh wow, I can see better, that sort of thing. So, so this is a critique of the Calvinist view, or a critique of the Calvinist view. I'm not a Calvinist. I am more, I just follow Jesus and, the Bible, Paul's ministry. I love Paul. He's awesome. And more importantly, love Jesus. So if you go to the description below, there should be some links. I'll open this PowerPoint here. So after you do that, so as you can see, it says here, let him who boast in the Lord. So based on my experience, I boast in the Lord 100%, not 99.9%. Then this verse is no longer pure, if you will. It has to be completely clean. It's of the Lord, both in the Lord. Or Paul also talked about boasting in the cross. That's the redemptive work of Christ. It's not my work, his work. And so, I hope that makes sense. On the next slide. So this is the Bible tool that I use, keeping it simple. And one very important thing is foundation, the original language. I try to go back to the first century. What were the word meaning back then? I cringe when I see concordances where they're adding definitions along the way or modifying it. More recent times, and that's just a really bad idea. And adding comments, trying to turn the concordance into a commentary. That's not what a concordance is for. So it's unfortunate. I'm seeing some of the bad practices happening, and I doubt it will stop. It'll probably continue, but I encourage you to go to older concordances where you're getting closer to the original language of the first century. So that's being a foundation. That's why I have this picture here. Show the 3D wireframe of the Leaning Tower Pistol. And so hopefully this all foundation be more God-centered, where our fallen nature, the image of first Adam in Genesis chapter 5 verse 3, it tends to be more focused on ourselves, and that seems to be not a straight focus on God, God-centered. So that's the idea here. So original language is so important in chronology to order things happen. So it makes the Bible unique. God trusted the Jews as the oracles of Romans chapter 3 verse 2, and so they develop these scriptures, writing the scripture, and they study it vigorously in the hopes they could become a rabbi that they're growing up as kids. And so they study this history, and so there's a chronology that develops and timeline in history. And so by looking at things from their perspective, it really helps us tap into that timeline, what's going on, what leads up to the author's intent, why they're sharing what they're trying to share, and looking at from their perspective what's being said. And it's huge advantages of that, and versus just trying to read it for ourselves, what it means to me and in our day, which is very common, and we miss out a lot when we do that. And then you have time indicators. Now, chronology also is applicable, to a verse within itself, or comparing different chapters within the book, or that sort of thing too. So I'm not talking about Bible as a whole, but also more on a micro level as well. So the point I'm trying to make. So you got time indicators and audience relevant. What does it mean to them? Like I was saying, grammar, setting, what was going on at that time, and context. So this is it's kind of like a building, and all leads up to context. So there's more to this, but keeping it simple. Hope this makes sense. So if you have anything to add to it, I'd love to hear. And or if you find this beneficial, or give me an example where you put it into practice. We'd love to see that in the comments below. So, going on to the next slide. So this is typically what you'll see in the PowerPoint. So you'll see a critique of a Calvinist view, and then my critique of the critique, and then what Bible tools are overlooked, that you saw in the previous slide. And so starting off, predestination is of existing saints to adoption, glorification, not centered to conversion. So then the author provides the passages, and then have them nicely typed out. So Ephesians 1:5, first one, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Jesus Christ himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. Similarly, Ephesians 1:11, whom also we have obtained inherit, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who works all things after counsel of his own will. So comment I put in is the word predestinated is past tense, and was written to those who had already become saints, Ephesians 1:1. So it's writing to the saints, and its action has already been carried out. So when you see the word predestinated, that means, if you go back to the original language, to predetermine, decided beforehand, to foreordain. So it's already been carried out. And so predestinated us onto the adoption. So it's writing to the saints, telling them they have been predestinated onto adoption. So they're the initial point of adoption, and that's what's going on here. There's also a consummation aspect of adoption as well. So this is more than an initial point. So they're already predestinated onto being adoption children already. And then obtain an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him. So they have already obtained an inheritance. Okay? And so that's that. And then Romans 8:23, speaking in a consummation, because like I was saying, there's the initial point and there's more consummation point. So some refer to already, not yet kind of thing. So it said, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan with ourselves, waiting for the adoption to wit, the redemption of our body. So they're waiting for the adoption. So they're already adoption of children. That's by the Spirit of the Son that's poured on us. And so you have more Jesuses walking around. That's the idea here, and trying to be conformed to the image of the Son. So this is more of a consummation sense. And then continue on, Romans 8:29, for whom he did foreknow, he also predestinate to be conformed to the image of the Son. So in order to be conformed to the image of the Son, you have to have the Spirit of the Son poured on you. And so that's where the circumcision of the heart takes place, where one of the Jew, not a Jew outwardly, but inwardly, based on a certain, the circumcision of the heart. And so that's in Romans, I think at the end of chapter 3. So basically, so predestinate to be conformed to the image of the Son, that requires a conversion. So to say predestination is not a sinner's conversion, where's the logic here? Because here we said predestinate to be conformed to the image of the Son. If that's not a conversion, then how can you be conformed to the image of the Son without a conversion, without some sort of interchange? I don't know, but anyway, going on. So Paul continues on. So let's just leave it blank for now. Conform to the image of the Son. What does that entail? The very next verse, Paul gets more into. He continues on what he's already talking about. Moreover, whom he did predestinate. Again, continuing on here. Them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. So there's a chronology here, the flow. So verse 29 and 30 go together. So let's. I put together a PDF. There's a link below right here, Order Salvation PDF. So remember verse 30. So this chart, I put together, basically put together all the verses pertaining to the initial point of salvation, written by Paul. So I used his ministry at the foundations of all this. As you recall, he said, moreover whom he predestined. So you see that right here, the word predestined. Basically, again, it goes from left to right. So predestined, so that's first. And then these also called. That's right here, you can see in green. That's the gospel. Okay? And whom he called, he's also justified. That brings us all the way over here. So when he goes from called to justified, he's including everything between here. And justified, decided by God, by what? By the redemptive work of Christ. And that's what this is right here. I don't know if you can see on your screen, but there's a green square here. That inside that is the redemptive work of Christ based on his ministry. And then continues on, and whom he justified, he's also glorified, which brings us all the way out to here. So basically, the very beginning, predestinate, all the way to the very consummation being glorified. So he's covering the full spectrum. He's not covering every detail all the way through. It's just easier to make 4 points along the way. And it's just like with Peter, when he said, baptism now save us, not to remove the filth of the flesh, but answer the good conscience of God. When he said, now baptism on this chart is right here. Alright? And by him saying baptism now saves us, he's not saying the act of baptism in and of itself saves us. He's saying it includes everything here. Baptism now saves us. When he says that. That includes, the call of the gospel and coming to faith, experiencing the redemptive work of Christ, and includes all that, all the way to. That's what saved us. That's what he meant by it. That makes sense. So that chart is something you can look at in your free time. And by all means, if you have any comments, what can be made better, what can be done to improve it. We would love to hear what you have to say. Thanks. Alrighty. And here's another chart. This is actually part 3 of that earlier one you saw. The previous one you saw part 1. This is part 3. There's more of an overview. We're zooming way out. And so I use Romans chapter 5:16. So that's reflected here. And this line here, justification. So this is Romans 5:16 here. And so like I was saying, there's that initial point being saved, and then the consummation point being saved. They're already not yet. So this is the initial point being saved. Alrighty. And then this is the consummation point. So, I hope that makes sense. So if you, so you're more welcome to look through the slides, or actually let's just wrap up with this particular slide. So in a nutshell, yes, it is true predestination of existing saints to adoption glorification, but again, there's that already not yet. So here, this is the initial point of adoption, where he predestinated onto adoption. Again, he's writing to saints, that people are already saints. So they're already adopted. And how so? By the Spirit of the Son. And that's done with this process here. So this here really entails the already not yet. So this kind of half true. So there's some truth to it, but it's only half true. And this here, not sinners conversion, that is blatantly not true. You have to deny everything Paul said here. You have to deny. You just have to miss so much what's going on. So how can a person be predestinated to be justified and not be converted? Or how can a person be conformed to the image of the Son and not be converted? How can a person already be converted before being called? Well, what's the point of being called then if you're already converted? It just doesn't fit with this at all. And hope you see that. But these are the tools that are overlooked in the original language, audience relevance. Again, Ephesians 1:1, he's already talking. He's talking to people who are already saints. And then chronology, the order of this verse, and and then grammar. So this past tense here. So I hope that makes sense. So this is typically what you'll see. You won't see this in all of them, but if you come across a slide where you think the author is missing a Bible tool, by all means, please share. Put in the comments below, and we'll update it accordingly. And the beauty of this, with the link below, that drive will always have the latest and greatest of the files. And so that way, at the time you pull files, it'll always be the latest. So, but anyway, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful. And hermeneutics, I just think is really important. Again, how are we reaching our conclusions? And so yeah, so I'll have another link to PowerPoint to a little more specifically on hermeneutics. So having said that, have an awesome day. Thank you.